Good morning, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I just want to pop in today to talk to you a little bit about how to keep your food fresh. Now, I've been talking about meal planning and meal prepping, and I did a live meal plan event a couple weeks ago. There was a 1 hour live meal prep video where I showed you how to make a breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snack in just an hour. But once you have all that food made, you have to know how to keep it from going bad. I really don't like food waste, and you probably don't either. It's kind of sad if you prep food and then you have to throw it away because it went bad before you could eat it. So, there are some things that I'm going to share with you today to help you avoid that so that you don't waste your food. Are you ready? Okay, so the first thing is actually ahead of time. One thing that you can do to help avoid having your food going bad is meal prep effectively or meal plan effectively. So if you take a look at your week or your month, factor in your travel, factor in events and eating out, plan a little bit of buffer because unexpected dinners might come up with friends, or you might just really feel like ordering a pizza or takeout or whatever you like to order. Um, so just factor that in to your meal planning so that you don't plan way too much food, because that's part of the problem, right? You plan and prep too much food and then you don't have enough time to eat it before it gets gross. So meal plan effectively, and just know that this can take a little bit of time. There's a little bit of a learning curve as you realize um, what your portion size is and how many portions a typical recipe could make. And the more um, recipes you make, especially from a specific source, a food blog or a cookbook or something, you can start to recognize how accurate their estimated portion number is. Most recipes will tell you this makes 4 to 6 servings or whatever. You will start to recognize, okay, for me or for my family, that's more on the 4 serving end, or for me and my family, that's more on the 6 serving end. So that can be really helpful too. But just try to pay attention to those things. Give yourself a little bit of grace for the process, and just try to meal plan as effectively as you can, taking into account the other things that are going on in your life. And then, gosh, sorry. Know what your enemies are when it comes to your food going bad. It's typically things like air and moisture. So, for instance, if you have an avocado, it's going to be fine until you cut it and it oxidizes and turns brown. And that's the same for an apple. It's the same for a lot of things. And some things like baked goods get really gross when they're exposed to extra moisture. That's when the mold grows and things get all fuzzy and green and just turns your stomach. No one wants to eat that. So know what kinds of things you're fighting against and then figure out how you can battle them. So that's often with things like airtight containers or wrapping things tightly, maybe with something like beeswax wraps. I'm hoping to start using them soon. I haven't actually started them yet. So if you do use them, let me know how they work for you. Or you could do something like plastic wrap. I try to limit my plastic use, so I don't really do that. I usually just use airtight glass containers that have like silicone or some sort of plastic lid, and just make sure things are tight. You can put things in a reusable bag and just get all the air out, whatever works best for you. But just consider trying to keep out that air and that moisture. Gosh. And that will help you keep things fresh. Also know what to refrigerate and what to freeze. I love sticking things in the freezer, especially if I realize that I'm not going to get through all of my food before it gets gross. So sometimes when I make a batch of something, like I just made some cauliflower tikka masala the other day. I put all the servings in the fridge for now so that I can eat them throughout the week. But if a few days go by and I realize that I haven't been eating much of it, I'll stick a couple of them in the freezer. You could also put some in the freezer at the very beginning, right when you make it, if you know that you made a lot of it and you're not going to eat it right away or eat all of it right away. That can just be a way to have some good food on reserve, kind of. It's like a backup plan. If you're too tired to cook, or if you have a really, really busy day and you don't have time to make dinner, having food in the freezer is so helpful. So that's a great option. Just obviously remember to thaw it out before you warm it up, especially if it's in a glass container. You don't want to take it straight from the freezer to the microwave, or you will crack the glass. But putting things in the freezer can really, really help if you're not going to eat them right away or eat all of the food right away. And just make sure that you label things so that you know what's in them, because especially once you stick it in the freezer, it can be hard to tell what's inside. So I love my labels. I just started using some reusable ones that are fabulous. And then one thing that I really like for something like a salad that you may think that you can't assemble until you're about to eat it, and I'll get to that in a second. But one option is to put a salad in a jar and put the dressing at the bottom, and then your toppings like nuts and fruit and protein of some sort, and whatever else you want to put on your salad, other veggies and things in the middle, and then you put your greens on top. That can keep the greens from getting all soggy, because if you've ever tried to prep a salad for like dinner or something, and then there's some left over and you stick it in the fridge and then you go to eat it the next day, unless it's a really hearty kale salad or something, it's probably really soggy, and soggy greens are just kind of gross. So consider layering your salads in a jar, or if you're going to make like a big salad that you want to eat throughout the week, instead of putting it all together, keep the sauce or the dressing and the dry ingredients separate. And that's not just for salads. It's very helpful for salads, but it can work for other things too. Anything that has a high moisture content, like zucchini noodles. It can be helpful to keep the noodles separate from the sauce so that the noodles don't give off extra water and make the sauce all watery and thin. If you keep them separate, you can put like towels around them and you can salt them to get the extra moisture out. And then as you go to serve it, you can mix things together. So just consider some of those things, knowing what your enemies are: air and moisture, putting things in airtight containers, refrigerating things and knowing when to freeze things, layering your salads or keeping the dry and wet ingredients separate, and of course, meal planning effectively at the beginning so that you don't have food that's going bad. And then just organize things in your fridge so that the things that you need to eat soonest are in the front, so that they don't waste away in the back corner where you just forgot about them because you couldn't see them. So make sure that you're kind of rotating your food around and eating the oldest things first. A really helpful tip for that is, again, to label your food. You can write what it is and when you made it so that you know, hey, this is older than this. I really need to eat this one first. So that's really helpful too. Do you guys have any tips for keeping your food from going bad? Leave them in the comments. If you have any other comments or questions, let me know those too. I always love chatting with you guys. But that is it for today. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Bye.